Hi, this is Stephen, and I'm making this video today for those of you out there who are interested in working one-on-one with me on improving your pronunciation. So let me talk a little bit about how I approach accent reduction teaching here with you using either Zoom or Skype, working one-on-one to make you sound more like a native speaker. The first thing I'm going to ask you to do is to read a passage or a short conversation, and that'll allow me to listen to your pronunciation and decide exactly what your strong points are, what your weak points are, the things that we can build on and the things that we can improve. If your accent is a particularly strong one, I'll take one approach. If you have less of an accent and it's more a matter of just fine-tuning, then I'll take a different approach. It's the one that suits you best. So let's say that your accent is pretty heavy and you have some sounds that aren't in your native language that are giving you trouble. For example, the R sound, r, r. If that's a problem for you, we'll work specifically on improving your R pronunciation. And I'll have you practice sentences. For example, Robert Ross ran the relay race in record time. Robert Ross ran the relay race in record time, so that we can concentrate on that sound. And I'll ask you during the week to come or the time between lessons to really focus on improving your R, on thinking about pronouncing R correctly when you speak. Your pronunciation might be a difference between V and W, V and W, V and W. So we could do a sentence like, "That's the very worst wine Walter and Vera have ever tasted." That's the very worst wine Walter and Vera have ever tasted. And I'll have you concentrate on V and W in the time between our lesson. Or if you have a problem with vowels, like the E sound and the I sound, E, I, that can be a problem for a lot of non-native speakers. So I'll give you sentences to practice like, Gina will keep living and breathing until she receives a kidney. Gina will keep living and breathing until she receives a kidney. And I'll ask you to focus on that problem. Now, if your accent isn't so much isn't so strong, then we'll take a different approach, which is really focusing on stress, rhythm, and intonation. These are the things that can make you sound less like a fluent speaker, less like a native speaker. Stress means knowing which word in a sentence you should emphasize, which words in a sentence you should emphasize. And if you don't emphasize the right words, then your English isn't going to sound natural. So, for example, in the sentence, I was talking with the woman in the red dress. Talking, woman, red, and dress are all stressed. We'll talk about why. And we'll work on getting you to pronounce sentences with the correct stress patterns. I was talking with the woman in the red dress. I was talking with the woman in the red dress. Another thing that we'll work on is rhythm. English has a jazzy rhythm, and if the rhythm in your language is different from English, then you're not going to sound like a native speaker. So, like that sentence that we just did, I was talking with the woman in the red dress. Da, 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 da. You can hear the rhythm of the sentence. And if your rhythm is more like da 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 instead of da 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 da, you won't sound like a native speaker. So we can work on that. Another problem that non-native speakers have is intonation. Intonation is basically the music in your voice. And using the right intonation will make you sound more like a native speaker. For example, we have statement intonation, which is like this, da 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 da, da 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 da. For example, I was talking with the woman in the red dress, in the red dress. You can hear the music in my voice. We also have a different kind of intonation for a yes-no question. Were you talking to the woman in the red dress? Were you talking to the woman in the red dress? You can hear how my voice goes up at the end. But not all questions have this kind of intonation. Sometimes we use statement intonation if it's a information question, if it's an information question. So if I say, who were you talking to? Who were you talking to? Da 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 da. The intonation in that sentence sounds just like a statement because it's an information question. We can work on these kinds of things. And there's even a special intonation that I call pause intonation. It comes before a comma. It sounds like this. I was talking with the woman in the red dress. I was talking with the woman in the red dress. Da 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 da. And this is the kind of intonation that we use when there's a comma, when we haven't finished our thought yet. So intonation is really important, and that's something that we can work on if it's getting in the way of your sounding like a native speaker. Another thing that non-native speakers have in common is not pronouncing the reduced vowels correctly. Many languages, every single vowel, A, E, I, O, U, A, E, O, U, is pronounced like a full vowel. And so when non-native speakers want to say words like actor or machine or animal or banana, they sometimes sound like this: animal, machine, banana, actor. English has reduced vowels, and we can work on that, on knowing how to reduce vowels and when to reduce them so you pronounce correctly words like actor, machine, animal, banana. Another thing that we can work on is phonetic linking. English is a very smooth language, and we connect our words together in English. If you separate your words, you don't sound like a native speaker. So for example, when I say, I need an example of an influential American actor, I need an example of an influential American actor, I'm not saying I need an example of an influential American actor. I'm saying I need an example of an influential American actor. You can hear how it sounds like a solid stream of speech. That's something that you can work on. Finally, the letter T. It causes a lot of problems. Many people who learn English as a second language always pronounce T like T, T. But it isn't always pronounced that way. Like, for example, when I say, Betty got a bit upset again. Betty got a bit upset again. I'm not saying Betty got a bit upset again. I'm saying Betty got a bit upset again. That's something that we can work on so that you know when to pronounce T like a T, as in Tom takes tennis lessons on Tuesday. That sentence has very clear T sounds. And Betty got a bit upset again, where the T changes pronunciation. All of these are things that we can work on when we're practicing pronunciation together in our one-on-one lessons. I will prepare individualized lessons that will meet your own specific needs. If your field is business, if your field is engineering, if your field is acting, I can prepare lessons that are just right for you, for your business, for your career, and also the kinds of conversations that you would have in business, in your everyday life. We can work on these types of problems. I'll listen to you. I'll correct your mistakes. I'll have you repeat correctly, sometimes many times until you get it correct. We'll work and work and work. And I'll also give you sentences that you can practice at home. So that will help you also between classes. And finally, we can do some free conversation. This is a chance for you to just speak English with me, and I'll listen, and I might ask you to stop and correct something that you've said, remind you of something that we've worked on. So if all of this sounds great to you, then please, I'd love to be here to help you work on your accent. I've had lots of experience working with non-native speakers. I know the kinds of problems that you have, having learned other languages myself, and I know that I'm just the right person who can help you to improve your accent. So together, let's work on pronouncing it right.